Happy New Year, everybody. It's 2024. I hope you all have had a great, wonderful season. Whether you're a ball knower or a ball not knower, it was a great time to just hang out with family and friends. And we got a good show for y'all today. First off, we are, as you know, an OU football podcast, so we will be addressing Ted Roof's exit from Norman at OU. Then we'll be diving into some of our favorite things that have happened during the holiday season, from transfer portals to wild games involving edible mascots, all of that wackiness that we've seen. Of course, break down the Sugar Bowl and the Rose Bowl a little bit. And then, of course, we got to preview the national championship between Michigan and Washington. So let's go ahead, dive right in. Welcome to the Schooner Pod. Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the Schooner Pod. I'm your host, Bobby Howard. With me, we've got, hosting with me as well, Jameson Maxwell and Ty Lee. And he's wearing the golden fedora, folks. The captain himself, Boatin Blake, sailing in to talk college football. Guys, it's been a while since we've all been together in pod form. Last time out, we were previewing essentially like the second round of bowls before, the holiday season collectively just, drug us under. But lots happened, and we'll get to that. But as mentioned in the not cold open, Ted Roof gone. He's out of Norman. He has mutually agreed with the University of Oklahoma to move on. He was essentially told by Brent Venables that, hey, you're not going to be the DC anymore. Hit the road. And he said, all right. Or he essentially was like, he wasn't told to hit the road. He could have had a place in the program, but he's like, I want to keep coaching, and he's leaving. So OU on a defensive coordinator search once again. Jameson, let's kick us off with this. We don't really have a list of candidates. This just happened. We haven't had time to dive in. We'll probably get to that on a different episode of the Schooner Pod, a little bit more focused. But just kicking this off, are you going to have any fond memories of old Ted Roof?
I don't know. I just think it's really funny whenever I see him in pictures. Talk about fedoras. I feel like Ted Roof's always got a good hat on.
He has like the baseball hat, like the full structured brim baseball hat, which was a strange move, but I don't know.
He did look like a mob boss, a little intimidating every time I saw him. Looked dangerous whenever I'd see him in pictures. Kind of scary, to be frank.
Maybe a bit.
Yeah. Just a programming note, if you do just Google Ted Roof, there's not even a picture of him wearing a hat on the whole first page. So not sure what Jameson was cooking.
What do you mean? I see on the first line multiple hats.
What search engine are you using? Like
fake news, Jameson.
He's using Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves, yeah. But okay, so let's talk about this though, because it's Ty. I want to ask you, like, Brent has obviously been the head of the defense. Let's be honest, Ted Roof doesn't do anything. Hadn't really done anything. What do you think bringing a defensive coordinator into the equation will add here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends on what the actual roles and responsibilities of that position are going to be. Is it going to continue to be a largely figurehead position like everyone believed Ted Roof to be, or is it going to be more of a true defensive coordinator? Are we going to see someone? We really don't know. Again, this is breaking news, but we really don't know what the priorities are even for OU. Are we going to go out and look for someone who maybe has some of their own style? Are we going to go out and look for someone who maybe fits into a more Venable style? That's yet to be seen. So obviously Roof came over from Clemson with Venables, so I would put him more in the fit into the Venable style camp. But are we going a completely different direction in terms of style, or are we just looking to reinforce the Venable style that will, yet to be seen?
Maybe I just saw Ted Roof in a hat once. Maybe it's stuck in my mind. Sorry, I know we're not talking about hats anymore.
He wore hats all the time. Jameson, you're absolutely right on this.
Sorry, Ty makes football takes, but I'm sorry, I'm just stuck on this.
We can argue this, but I mean, the dear viewers and listeners can just search this themselves.
Well, type in Ted Roof hat on Google Images.
Jameson. If you search Ted Roof hat, the result are in the
no, but listen to the Ty. Listen to this.
Google Ted Roof no hat
on the fourth line on Google Images, I'm not kidding. Ted Roof hat. Fourth line of Google Images, it is legitimately our current episode with Ted Roof in a hat as the overweening picture. It's unbelievable.
There's a reason why I picked that logo is because he's wearing a hat, and I'm like, all these other pictures don't make me think of Ted Roof because he's not wearing a hat.
I don't know how many other people think about hat, but I don't know why. Just the thing that came out of my brain. But really,
this is as you're pulling this up though, Jameson. This is kind of an important note, right?
I need to
that wasn't a joke. Bobby says, "What do you remember when you think of Ted Roof?" You're like, "Oh, hat. You wore a hat."
Yeah. I think that tells you everything you need to know about Ted Roof.
It's just nothing. Exactly. And his role in this defense was nothing. Brent Venables did everything. That's why every single press conference, Brent Venables would only talk about the defense because, yes, he was a head coach, but he was essentially just the defensive coordinator too. And was that too much for him to handle? Maybe. So everyone right now for this Ted Roof conversation, they're thinking about hires from within. And that's all I've seen on the message board so far. People are talking about, Valai and Bates are going to be co-DCs right now. We'll see what happens in the future. But, would we hire Brandon Hall? Because there's been talks about that. Would Valai do it? Would Bates do it? If Venables is already the head honcho, what's the point of hiring from within? Why don't we get another guy who can be at least bring a little bit of a different perspective? He's almost like an on-field consultant. That's kind of what Ted Roof was. They'll keep the same system as Venables because that's what he believes in, but at least get someone to bring in some kind of different insight to make sure that you're not too tunnel visioned in the Venables scheme.
Let's just hire Bill Belichick. There we go.
Oh, great idea. Oh, man.
I was going to say...
It's not like the Los Angeles Chargers were going to do that. I really hope that they don't, honestly.
I hope... Surely, yeah, you don't want that to happen.
That's going to be a disaster.
Oh,
No, but I feel like in terms of candidates, everyone was talking about candidates for DC's last offseason because, it's been a long time coming that Roof was going to leave. And the big names that everyone was clamoring for, and whenever there's a possibility he could leave, was Jim Leonard out of Wisconsin, their interim head coach at the time, who is now a analyst somewhere, Illinois or something. Yeah, Illinois. And then the other big name that people were talking about, Bronco Mendenhall, is now in New Mexico. So there's going to be a lot of people reporting stories and putting out names right now. Just give it a couple of, days, and there might be some legitimate legs to some candidates here and there.
For sure. It's just still too early. We all don't know. But we'll see where it goes. I'm intrigued with adding someone outside the system because anytime you get an echo chamber, that never really does much. And I think that OU kind of struggled having a guy like Ted Roof who had been there. I mean, he was an analyst at Clemson when he got hired. I wasn't very hyped about him when we hired him in the first place. So yeah, I'm cool with it. But we'll see where it goes. I'm excited to see how it all shakes down. Other than that, not a ton of OU news really. I've really seen, signing day was pretty chill, nothing crazy.
Oh my God. I'm just scrolling Ted Roof on Twitter right now.
Okay.
I'm just going down things, just seeing what people are saying. I found a picture of Ted Roof being compared to this guy from Storage Wars back in the day. You remember Storage Wars?
Oh my God. How could I forget?
I need to just share my screen right now because I can't unsee this now. This is ridiculous. Hold on. Let me share this screen. Yeah, y'all talk as I share my screen because this is an uncanny resemblance here that I just can't get past. Okay, no one's gonna talk. Whatever. Here's the share screen. Look, remember this guy from?
No, that is just Ted Roof.
Oh wow, that's actually just Ted Roof.
I know.
You're right.
I know. Boatin Blake loved Storage Wars. Some Storage Wars. That's how you get me into this Ted Roof conversation.
I didn't know how to get you into it. No one remembers Ted Roof. But you remember the guy from Storage Wars?
Yep, that's him. I just looked up. I didn't really know what Ted Roof looked like because OU only did the solemn helmets on the field, the grass, making it seem very dire as something bad happened. So hadn't really seen a picture of the guy. Just looked it up. Oh, and he wears glasses too. If he has those transition lenses, it's the same guy. It's the same guy.
Blake, I remember Blake would always like that guy who went, yep. This podcast, if y'all are looking for OU football content, this is peak offseason. I've talked about hats and Storage Wars about Ted Roof so far.
Yeah, it's incredible. The logo is over my face. I'm trying to move. I was not anticipating pulling up a tweet of this Storage War guy.
All right, no, it's gone. It
was not in the show notes. We're fine. Okay, look, that's all we have to say about Ted Roof. He will be quickly. I don't think there will be a coach more quickly forgotten than Ted Roof. Just being honest. I'm not trying to dance on the guy's OU grave, but
I wonder if Kerry Cooks is doing anything nowadays.
Who knows, man? Jeez. Okay, let's move on to some actual college football content that doesn't involve Ted Roof. And look, I thought bowl season was. What do we think of the bowls, Blake? Because what do you do? How do you fix this? There were ups, there were downs. Most of the ups involved Pop-Tarts, and that's about it. It was kind of crap.
Yeah. Two things that need to be fixed here. First, it has nothing, or it's kind of related to bowl season, but it needed to be said. There's a man on this podcast whose picks outright stink. They smell. They are at the bottom of the leaderboard looking ass right now, and I am talking about the ball not knower Jameson. It needs to be said. It needs to be highlighted. We haven't had a podcast in 2 weeks, but Jameson, I know, he was like, oh, just checked it out the other day, like, ooh, that's bad. I know Jameson's been knowing in his mind how bad things are going, and he's been so thankful he hasn't been on the podcast mic. That's why when Bobby's like, oh, do you all want to be at 7? He just gives the classic, oh, sure. Like, he wasn't excited to be on here because he has to be held accountable. We are talking, he at best can get a tie for last place with Tyler Caldwell, who just does not watch college football. He just doesn't watch college football, and you somehow are 15-27. This is abysmal. If you just went off of the lines that you saw change like 6 points because of people transferring or people sitting out, you would have been in a better situated spot. You are on a college football podcast, Jameson, and you are 15-27 in bowls. It has to be addressed. I need a statement. What's going on?
I'm going to be honest. Whenever this first came up, I legitimately just clicked them all because I was scared I was going to forget doing it. And whenever we went through ours, I changed them a little bit, but really, this was a poor effort on my end. Very, very poor effort, and it just did not go my way. It's true. You can call me all the names you want. I'll take it.
It's a bowl not knower.
It is a bowl.
You used to be the bowl knower. Like, that was the one thing you did right. You were horrible.
I opted out.
Wow. That gets the spirit of the season, Jameson, too.
To be fair, Bobby has created a system where bowls don't matter by not making it count towards anything, really. So,
but if you win, you get $150.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of a different color of fedora. Definitely needs to be a fedora involved. Maybe not gold, because gold you gotta prove you're a dog all season long to get the gold. But something else.
Here's how you make Jameson try. You do the pink elephant, like the Lyrium pink elephant fedora.
Oh,
that would get Jameson going.
Maybe because we're also not talking about the fact that me and fellow listener Lord King Big Nuts battling it out for the final one, the first place. If I win, I might use those winnings to buy 2 guys on this podcast, Delirium Trimmins, fedoras, and have them all show up. And Lone Boy Jameson over there doesn't have a Delirium Trimmins fedora, so.
Can I get one with the safari flaps on the side?
No.
Nope.
No. Absolutely.
You gotta win something meaningful.
But we don't just hand out fedoras to anybody, Jameson. You have to earn them. But
no, I have not earned anything. I've not earned it. It's okay. It's all right. I won our high school group text fantasy football league, so
nobody cares about their fantasy league.
But nobody cares about other people's fantasy leagues.
Nope.
You're right.
Nobody cares about other. Yeah, but Yeah,
Bobby cares.
I care.
Bobby,
No.
Bobby almost erupted.
I almost fought a dude. It was nuts. But
But my plan to fix bowl season, I don't really know. Like, we kind of saw this coming with transfer portal, NIL. The transfer portal issue is it has to be open during the bowl season because they are still student athletes. They still go to school, so they have to enroll. So that's why the portal, everybody's like, just move the portal. Well, they have to go to school, so you can't just move the portal to January where they're going to classes 1 week and then show up in a new class later. It just can't happen. So we have that issue, and then the opt-outs are bad. Like, we gotta talk about one of the worst games, Florida State. They had a chance to prove, like, it reminds me back to 2014 TCU. They got left out of the playoff, whether people think they deserved it or not, but there was a sentiment throughout the team that they got screwed out of that playoff. And then went and played Ole Miss in the Peach Bowl and, like, blew them out by 40. It was not a game. It was, at least in your fans' minds, you could still, to this day, I can make that argument because we went and blew out a team. I don't want to hear Denny Cannell. I don't want to hear any of the Florida State fans ever again. You had your chance. A team like Georgia also felt screwed. Whether it's rightful or not, they are they're probably the best team. That's the funny part. They're probably the best team in the nation still. They got left out. And just everybody opted in, played them, beat them by 60. Like, that's what you got to do. And Florida State was too scared. They didn't want to go out there and, I guess, like, get embarrassed by Georgia full strength. So they decided to go this way.
and not only that, but it puts your underclassmen in a really bad spot because they're just being sacrificed to Georgia, which is just a beast who, even though they had a lot of opt-outs, they're still Georgia. They have a depth like no one else. And it was bad. That was an aberration of a game. Really just an insult to all of it. They got to find a way to fix it.
I mean, fundamentally, right? It's weird because obviously it's about football, but it's like Florida State just didn't understand, I don't think, like what it's actually about. Like it's an entertainment product. I don't think anyone can say at this point that the committee made the wrong decision. That Alabama-Michigan game was a tremendous football game, tremendous brands, drew tremendous ratings, which is what it's actually like. If it wasn't about TV ratings, the teams would be like actual student athletes and it would be like a club sport, and you'd play the local teams and like OU would play Texas and everyone local. And it would be about beating, people you went to high school with because you're all actually student athletes. Like it's an entertainment product. And then to opt out and to just put up a stinker of a game against Georgia is like, I understand, like they maybe got cheated or whatever you want to call it. I could be sympathetic to that, but you can't lose by 60. You can't just have a terrible game. Like the point is an entertainment product. They saw that the point was not just to win games. They won a bunch of games. Liberty won a bunch of games against nobody teams as well. They didn't feel like they deserved to be in the playoffs. I'm not really sure why an ACC team thought they deserved to, but it's, I don't know. I don't really know. Honestly, I think the way to fix bowls is people need to just change their expectations, or perhaps you have just an opt-out period prior to the selection period. Obviously, injuries are always going to happen, but at least I think the only real thing that I can come up with is have the opt-out period prior to the selection period, and there's just some sort of deadline, and then the committee can at least sit there, the bowl committees can at least sit there and do like they did with Florida State, whether it was right or not, and consider who's going to be playing or not playing, and then maybe make some better matchups. Because obviously there's always going to be bias. There's always going to be big brand versus big brand to draw TV ratings, which I think it should be that way. But yeah, I really, the only realistic, because I don't think you can cut down on player freedom. I don't believe in that at all. Obviously there's some revenue sharing ideas out there, but I don't think that really makes a big difference, because most of the bowls are not going to revenue share to a point where you're offsetting potential NFL earnings or potential NIL collective earnings as well. So it's a tough situation, but I think you could have some sort of opt-in, opt-out window. Obviously, if you're in the portal, you're in the portal, but opt-in, opt-out window that is factored into selection is the best you can do.
What the people that are going to opt out are going to leave anyways. So if they break a rule of the NCAA, they're like, oh, you got me. Oh man, I can't do anything more in the NCAA. People are going to opt out and just abandon shit,
Yeah.
and like, people are in the transfer portal are going to go in the transfer portal. Like if they don't want to play in this bowl game, they can just make up an injury. Like in terms of college football, you don't have to report injuries like NFL and NBA. The players can do whatever they damn want. So I see I see the take. It probably would have worked in the NFL, but there's a lot of, problems with it.
Yeah.
It's really, it's going to be in today's day and culture. It's just, everyone's going to try to find a fix for bowls. As long as you have this many bowls and you're letting every single team that's 500 and above play in it, guess what? Your little, participation trophy culture, you're not going to have good games because you're not having much good quality to begin with.
But I think, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and the only way to reduce bowls is to just stop watching them. And that just won't happen. I mean, look at the ratings for, some really good college basketball games. Like we're talking, Kansas involved, Duke involved, et cetera, pair them up against, the Cure Bowl, and the Cure Bowl rivals them, if not beats them.
They're never going to go away. I just think whenever they're selecting the bowls, kind of a little bit to what Ty's saying, I just wish the bowls when selecting kind of try to get two teams on similar like paths or momentum. So if it's like two heavy opt-out teams, put them against each other. So at least it could be an entertaining game with people just sitting out, but it's like a lot of young guys coming in playing. Like when I look at the best bowl games, it's kind of an OU Arizona where it's like Arizona's playing for a historic season where OU's a good team. They had key opt-outs, but they have like a young quarterback, like intriguing matchups like that, like K-State, NC State, programs that have cultures that guys really aren't quitting all too much. Like I know MJ Morris quit on NC State, but they had a back, like they had Brennan Armstrong as a backup. It's like starting to pair some of those cultures. Like Kentucky, Clemson, like exact same way. I think you can kind of tailor the system to make a little bit better matchups because it seemed like towards the end, like the closer we got to New Year's, the more people cared. So that's the thing. It's just like whenever you place a team in that is obviously given up versus a team that actually cares about it, that is when it just like goes awry. Like Syracuse, South Florida, like it was one of the ones that kicked off the bowl season, but it's like South Florida hadn't been to a bowl in a while, really cared about being there. Syracuse fired coach, everybody was gone, like I think the interim coach had been hired somewhere else and was still just being the interim coach. I'm like, this guy's not focusing on this bowl game. Like he's
already got his bag. Yeah,
like he's just kind of doing there to stand on the sidelines to collect whatever residual check comes from it, and then is heading off to his other place. So
yeah, and I think some of it, I think ending bowl tie-ins would be good. Just having that selection be determined elsewhere would be very good. I think that'd be very helpful. But yeah, they're gonna have to change it, and it's gonna get worse. Once the college football playoff expands next year, when you're at 12, I mean, even the best bowls are going to be who's left. Yeah,
I do think I've had this take on the portal and on NIL as well, and I think obviously their effect on the bowl season is really starting to be seen this year. I think was the biggest one by far. But I still think maybe it is perhaps a little too soon. Obviously, we're not in control of making changes, but I almost think it's a little too soon to actually change things. I mean, you have to let that pendulum swing back a little bit. Like it will be a self-correcting market. There's a ton of things out there that can fix this that are not on the committee or anyone else's end. Like if NIL collectives could just start writing their contracts in a way that really incentivize participation in these games, which, I don't understand how that's not already been a thing. Obviously, there's really intelligent people that know all about contracts that are doing these, but I think we will continue to see fan bases and collectives and alumni and everyone else be extremely frustrated because it's like your school gets embarrassed either way. Right? Like Florida State can whine all they want. 10 years down the line, there's the biggest bowl loss in history, and they thought that they should be in the playoffs. Like that, there were a ton of opt-outs like everything else. I mean, that storyline is compelling right now, but 5-10 years down the line, kids in middle school are not going to know that when they're arguing with their friends. It's just not going to hit. It's the storyline for forever is going to be, y'all thought you should be in the playoff, and then you got absolutely embarrassed. So I think there will be a correction on the school's ends to maybe incentivize play a little bit more, whether that's right or wrong. But I mean, that's how the bowl seasons are massive, massive moneymakers, and schools are not going to continue to tolerate, I think, some of this stuff. Obviously, there's only so much you can do. People like Caleb Williams are always going to opt out. People who are transferring, like Dylan Gabriel, are probably always not going to play. But I think there's a lot more that can be done on the school end as well that will be done if, the ecosystem is relatively unchanged externally.
I don't think the NCAA is going to ever do anything about this. They can't get over the player empowerment. It's just a war that they can't win. And also, they're just making enough money on the bowls where the amount of time and effort and headaches that would go through to change anything would just be not worth it. I think this is just going to continue to be an issue, and I don't foresee any kind of solution.
I mean, the only solution is seceding from the NCAA entirely, and
which will happen. I've been
it's going to happen.
The NCAA is saying that for a while now. NCAA is like it is expedited this offseason, and it's going to get even worse next year. After everyone watches what happens with the Big Ten and SEC this year, it's going to get even worse. People already see the writing on the wall. Look at how freaking desperate Florida State is right now.
Yeah, I mean, Florida State. I mean, they are trying to, nuke the ACC on their way out of the door. I mean, that letter they wrote, specifically involving SMU, by the way, Blake, which I'm sure you just loved.
Great. Just great.
Destroyed SMU. Oh,
permanently God. In the public record about how bad SMU football is and why them joining the conference just completely killed it. Even though they came in for free, just completely killed it. Oh, it made me so happy. They took so many L's this bowl season. Not
only that, but noting that they were so desperate that they'd play for free for 9 years is like, oh, that hurts. That's got
it hurt. That game made me very happy. I was about to place a large but reasonable sum of money on that SMU spread. I thought they were going to kill them. I think I just got that SMU hype in my head from living in Dallas, but no, they're bad. They're not bad. They're just like they're an ACC average team. Like that's what they're going to be next year. They are ACC average. They just Rhett Lashley can't beat P5 opponents. Like, it's easy to beat up on Charlotte. It's easy to beat up on these, low-level, even Memphis. Like, Memphis, although beat Iowa State, that one was a weird one. That's probably the bowl game that makes the least amount of sense to me. State. What?
Memphis did.
I know, that's why it makes no sense, but Memphis is not good. Memphis is not a good football program.
It was a dominant win,
yes.
Top to back, front to back.
It's weird too because Iowa State for a lot of this season looked like the third best team in the Big 12.
Hey, no, they just didn't care. The third best big team in the Big 12 doesn't get up for the Liberty Bowl against Michigan. I will not be taking questions, I will not answer any questions to this.
In Bobby's defense, like we touched on, it was like a 10-way tie for third place.
Bobby, I feel like had 10 third teams at some point in the Big 12. He's all over West Virginia, all over Kansas, all over K-State, all over. Yeah. He's somehow all over everybody but nobody all at once. So
it was almost like the moment I started being on them, they just died. Just give them the kiss of death. Maybe.
It's like when you ride K-State big and they come up bad.
Every time I fade K-State, they win the conference.
No, here's what it is. Bobby thinks he has this kiss of death that he said. Anything he touches turns to ash. Maybe you're just looking at things that appear nice, but in actuality, they're already ash. You ever consider that it's already dead before you kiss it?
I'm just the world's biggest fool's gold buyer.
He's certainly this cannot be cake.
Is this a rice? It's cheese.
Let's talk national championship because
yes.
Honestly, I'm very excited for this, and I'm curious to see what Blake has to say because he was a big Washington naysayer. One of his biggest ball not nowhere takes thing that Oregon was gonna get alt lines in the Pac-12 championship. And then now it's shown to be
they're favored by 9.
And Washington's now in the national championship. So what do you say about that, Blake?
It's perplexing, and I realized where I went wrong. I think Michael Penix was playing at least like 5 or 6 weeks injured during the middle of the season. That's the only thing, because the way he was spinning the ball against Texas so beautifully, like, it's better than NFL level at some points. Like, it was one-on-one guys that are completely blocked, but puts the ball perfectly in a football-sized pocket right there for them to, like, get 1 foot touched in out of bounds. It was one of the most insane performances I've ever seen. And, like, I know the Sugar Bowl records, like, they were always comparing them. They're like, oh, Tebow's record and Joe Burrow's record. Y'all remember that one very clearly. But
Of course.
it was one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen just because of Texas's defense was legit. Like, I thought that was, like, the underrated part of that team. It's like everybody wants to say, like, Brooks, Murphy, like, they got all these not Murphy, sorry. Ewers, like all these weapons, like all
You're
these.
just thinking about your favorite quarterback.
Yeah, I'm thinking about him. Oh, when we get to that transfer portal segment, oh lordy. But that defense is so good, and really the final score does not attest to the fact how Washington was really blowing them out. It was like some weird funky stuff at the end that kept Texas close and had a chance to win it. It was
a disaster, honestly, coaching wise, of just managing your time.
It was disasters on both ends. Like, I thought DeBoer, like, he didn't know how to tap into what they were doing well. It's like Michael Penix was completing everything. It doesn't mean you got to go for the 30-yard shot, but have him roll out a little bit. Get him out in the boot. Like, take some slides. Like, get some, like...
And then, after that fumble, too, they're like, oh, let's try this triple reverse pass. And it just... They were going for these, like... They were going away from what got them there in the first place. Instead of trying to just, like, kill them the way they've been killing them the whole time, they kept trying to go for these massive, like, headshots, and it just didn't work.
Yes, and then on flip side of the coin, Sarkisian. I'm tired of these, like, kind of like, I guess, the play calling geniuses on both sides of the ball, whether, like, as a head coach, whether it be offense, defense. How do you get down to your 12? You are able to run 4 plays, and you get, like, a running back just, like, flat route, and it goes out of bounds, 2 post routes, and then just, like, a ball out of bounds. It doesn't put somebody in the middle of the field. Like, chaos happens in the middle of the field. If it hits off of one of your guys, another guy can catch it. I don't know why they were trying to go for, like, the fade post route every single time with a one-on-one matchup trying to get it. It's like, that final play was a great play by Washington to bat it out, but it seemed like they kind of knew it was coming. That's, like, all they were trying to do. There was nothing across the middle. There was nothing to get their athletes out in space. It's like, even with 12 seconds, if you get it down to the 1 yard line, I think you could spike it quick enough to have one more play. Like, just get something running across the middle. It's like Washington was playing in the end zone, and all you can get is to the outside. It was an infuriating game in that sense. I guess, are we kind of doing recap, or do you want me to go in on my pick? Or
it's like a light recap. Like, we're not going to do like a full. We're not going to do a quick weekend spread, like, kind of run through or anything. Like, we can talk about, the Sugar Bowl bit if we want to. I don't know, Jameson, if there's anything you want to say about the Sugar Bowl on this one. Other
Rose
than that,
Rose Bowl needs some.
I'll say this
too.
I'll say this too about that Sugar Bowl though, is like, we need to find a way to. They need to fix the rule where if someone's hurt, like, they need to be able to had the runoff. Like, the team with the injured players should be like, all right, we'll start it on the whistle or something. But because that is insane that almost cost Washington.
You could just drag up, like, what happens if a player's, like, down, knocked out, and, like, people see this, and in the games are, like, dragging somebody's, like, lifeless body to the sideline.
That's a pretty big liability.
Like, I know, like, that's kind of what it's encouraging, that it's like, hey, man, like, I know you're knocked out, or, like, your ankle's twisted, like, 90 degrees, but, like, man, like, I gotta drag you off. Like, we gotta get this punt off, because if they punt it, the game's over. They get it, like, even with the running into it, like, penalty, you get, like, 15 seconds on the 30. Like, you're not probably going anywhere. It's just a weird rule that, or even if the team that has the player, you can burn a timeout to like start it again or something, like have some way to start it back up. It seems ridiculous that like a player is like can't walk and it just stops.
Yeah, it's really just bad. It's just bad rules. Like it's easily fixed. I mean, that's not the case in the NFL, right, Jameson?
I think that'll be an easy fix. To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure. I can't tell you of a situation like this in the NFL off the top of my head, but it seems like something that they probably just, I don't know if they've encountered, especially on this kind of scene. Because like Blake said, what happens if there is a person, they have like an open fracture where the bone's sticking out of their leg? If you drag that guy across the ground, legitimately that leg could get infected and you can die.
Yeah.
So like that is a huge liability. So I mean, I'm obviously playing extremes here, but you don't want the incentive to be dragging people in this horribly physical sport on a field off, which didn't happen. But
or be like up on one leg, like just keep pushing.
You're being a bit dramatic. You wouldn't have to drag them. Like they have huge staffs there. They could pick them up. Like right,
but that stops the clock. That's what stops the clock.
The staff came up. It has
yeah,
to be
like that's
field.
What stops the clock.
You got to pick them up like a bunch
head
of
or neck
men.
injury, right? Let's stop the clock. Let's stop play. Let's get out there. Let's make sure we're not going to move them. You know, anything that's going to exacerbate the issue. We're talking about like some like WR3 has an open fracture in his leg. Who cares, right? I want to see football. You know, we might get infected. It's 2024. Give him some antibiotics or something, right? Like, don't drag him through the mud. Send 2 extra people out there to pick him up and move him. But it's like, come on, you know, make him wear a mask or something while they play so they don't get infected.
He just essentially wants gladiators out there.
I don't want gladiators out there, but it's like, you know, come on, there should be a TKO rule where like if somebody gets injured
down, is that what you're
saying?
saying?
Like UFC style, if someone gets injured and they can't get up and off at least moving off the field in under 10 seconds, your team loses.
Oh my God.
Like the game. I don't care if it's quarter one. You guys who goes down, he's not up in 10 seconds. TKO, other team is won.
Tell me, we're talking about the Sugar Bowl here in Superdome. Bring back Bountygate if you really want to talk about TKO policy. All right, Sean Oakman, I know you didn't do much at Baylor towards the end there, but I want you to do is just go straight head-to-head contact with that wide receiver coming across the middle and just murder him.
Human missile.
Yes, chef.
Oh, Ty, I gotta say, I'm glad I thought of this. But we can't not talk about, because we're about to close the book on the Sugar Bowl, but we have to close the book on Texas as well. I gotta say, pretty golden opportunity. Y'all put those horns up. I did it one time, and Stein still gets me. There we go. Bring out them disco lights for the Longhorns. It didn't
reflects well off the fedora.
Oh, it does. It does. It's a great effect. But look, I thought they kind of screwed up a pretty golden opportunity here. You know,
yes,
Sugar
Blake's
Bowl,
about to go in here too.
Sugar Bowl, like basically in your own backyard, everyone's packed. You know, playing a Pac-12 team that kind of got in there. You know, at the very end, you know, nobody really respected them, and the national championship's in Houston, and they botched it. They had it right there, and they completely blew it. And you know, I gotta say, even though OU 0-4 in college football playoffs, whatever, we've never had an opportunity like that. Like we played some of the one of the better Clemson teams with Deshaun Watson. We played Tua and Bama, and then you know, a really damn good Georgia team that almost won a national title, and then you know,
Joe Burrow in the Sugar Bowl.
Joe Burrow at LSU. So
yeah, in
not
Louisiana.
Yeah. So all of that crowing Texas did about how we win the big games. You can't win anything, but if we were there, we would win it. Yeah, they can go to hell. But Ty, you mentioned earlier.
What was this segment for me? This was just a segment for you.
because I very specifically didn't say anything about Quinn Ewers, and you mentioned that you had an hour or 45-minute rant on Quinn Ewers, and I'm sure it's probably an abridged version, or maybe you're joking, but also I'm sure you have some things about Quinn Ewers to say.
Quinn Ewers is not good. He was 55% in this game. And obviously, he could have, like, Texas had some absolute dogs on their team. Like, their defense, like we touched on, very legitimate, like good enough to win the championship for sure. And then you have like just dudes on the offense, like that 89 Michelle guy, whatever his name is. He's a monster. He's really, really good. And just Quinn Ewers is not good. It does not make sense to me. This is not even necessarily like the playoffs. We have a whole thing, I guess we'll get into the offseason about like, I have no idea why Texas is even letting him stay. Manning is staying, apparently. I don't know, but I understand Manning, if you look at just the numbers, hasn't necessarily had the most impressive year when he's gotten to play. It was 2 for 5, but those 2 completions were like completions that Quinn Ewers could never throw. And I understand that Texas fans are going to be like, oh, Oklahoma fan hating on Quinn Ewers. I wanted Texas to win the national championship, or at least this game. I would have liked the storyline of like Bama and then Saban retires. Would have been cooler. But like, I was cheering for Texas. I cheer for Texas almost every time they're not playing OU. Like, I wanted Texas to win this. I want Texas to win every game that's not OU. So every time we beat them, we look even better, obviously, and then we both look good together. But like Quinn Ewers, it's just not. I don't understand it. I do not, and it's not like people hated like Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield had good stats. Baker Mayfield won the Heisman. Baker Mayfield threw over 70%. Quinn Ewers can never do that. Quinn Ewers is in the 50s when it matters. So it just doesn't, it's not even a controversy. He's not even fun. Like, he has that weird look on his face. He has the weird haircuts and stuff. He's not an entertaining person either. Like, you can't really even hate him because he's just like this cardboard Chipotle bag here. Like, he's there. Like, yeah, he gets the job done, I guess. But it's like, it's not a Gucci bag like people seem to think he is.
I think that's fair. And that glazed look might have been a concussion, so you never know. But
no, he's had that his entire. I mean, maybe perpetually concussed, but he had that same look when he was in Ohio.
That's funny. But
I don't. They pay this man millions of dollars. I don't know why Texas was like, let's go get a quarterback from Ohio. That'll work well. Goofy. It's goofy.
That's fair.
But it is foreshadowing. A team from Texas with a bum quarterback that people seem to think is impressive, losing in the playoffs. Unfortunately, foreshadowing for the NFL this season.
Maybe. Do we want? Okay. Any final words on Texas, or are we just moving on?
No, let's talk about Alabama and Michigan.
Banger of a game.
Honestly, great.
Was it? That's my thing.
Oh my God. You are trying too hard to have a
I'm sorry.
It was an overtime game in the playoffs.
It
was overtime. Yep, that's
like,
what
overtime game in the playoffs against the team with the most championships ever versus the team with the most wins ever. 2 massive massive ratings.
I know. I think it was still a very good game. But for 3/4 of this, it was some of the ugliest football you've ever seen. You're like, how are these two teams so there?
Do you?
It's not defense whenever they're snapping it. Like, if Jalen Milroe is not getting the snap above his knees, that is not defense.
Guess who's on Norman's campus right now from the transfer portal?
Oh no, is it the center?
Yeah,
oh no.
Oh wait, the Bama center?
Yeah. Because we recruited him really hard, and then he ended up going to OU. He's a big Bill Beanbo guy, and they really have a good relationship. He's currently in Norman right now.
Okay, that's great.
But that was bad. That was really, really bad. And he might have the yips, and he might just be guard forever after that.
It could be a yips thing, and honestly,
it's absolutely a yips thing. It was trash.
You're in Alabama. How can't you get a snap right? Regularly. It's kind of insane. But no, overall, I thought it was fun. It was a good defensive battle. Michigan, I thought looked excellent. Especially that defensive line gave Jalen Milroe lots of hell. Even though Milroe didn't throw the ball very well, I thought he kind of handled the game pretty well, through the ground.
I thought he played very well.
Yeah, I mean, the passing yards aren't gaudy or anything, but he performed what he needed to. And any game where you have that much back and forth, and it was interesting because it's like Michigan dominated that first half, but they're only up 3. So it's like the whole time you're like, well, that doesn't feel comfortable. And then Alabama storms back. It was a good, gritty game of football that I truly enjoyed. And Michigan almost blew it at the end with that muff.
Yeah, every team has their own Gavin Freeman, apparently.
Poor guy. He's a true freshman. It seems like they've been really believing in him and taking a bigger role in the offense and special teams. I felt really bad for him.
Who is?
The Michigan
The
punt
Michigan?
returner.
Oh, I was like, Gavin Freeman
They-
is not a true freshman. Let's not do this revisionist history, make excuses for him. But
A wild special teams day, like Michigan just sucking on special teams because Jim Harbaugh's son is the special team coordinator, and then Texas rolling out a guy with a club hand to return a kickoff. It was an all-time day for special teams. But yeah,
Man.
The club
it was
guy.
it was a gross. It was the best way to describe it was a heavyweight fight where for about 12 rounds, 8 rounds were guys feeling each other out, and then they started swinging. That's a really good game, but it wasn't like this like intense back and forth all the way through. It was more like Michigan looked best for 4 quarters, but just somehow kept on getting in like their way. And so Alabama kept it close, took advantage of it early in the 4th, and then Michigan just put it away.
Yeah, pretty much. But I thought it was a good one. So
It was good. No, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't call it like an all-time classic. It is not one of those that I am like looking forward to watching because
It wasn't an
the
all-time
first three
classic.
the first 3 quarters were like honestly at points unwatchable.
Right, but I think
was a great
some
game,
of it too is our bar for like good college football playoff semifinals is so low that it was like this is awesome, you know.
Yeah, 1 versus 4. You know, we've had Michigan States or I think were they 2-3? I don't remember, but like Cincinnati's and like.
Oh my god, it's so much. The last 2 years have been significantly better than what the 1-4
Yes.
matchups typically
We've
are.
been, we've been
I'll
very
give it
blessed.
no, I will take whatever this is versus years past. It's actually been like the last 2 years. It's been like wall to wall. You have to be watching these games, which is
Yeah.
very nice.
Absolutely.
And for the championship game, you know, Washington, Michigan, you got to hope that obviously it's going to be close. And we kind of already talked about this in the podcast, but Michigan's heavy favorite. But the way Michael Penix is playing, like there's a very small amount of players in sports and in football where you just watch them and you just say, wow, like he's one of those guys. Like you were saying, like his accuracy on some of those fade routes is unbelievable. He makes wow plays, and he will continue to do that to keep Washington in this game. Now, it's going to be tough because this Michigan team's like really good. Am I the biggest JJ McCarthy believer? No, but it seems like they have enough skill players on that offense to really push along and kind of lean on the defense. I don't know if Washington's going to be the team to beat Michigan. But I still don't think it's going to be a blowout or any kind of like boring game. I think we're going to have a lot of entertainment on Monday.
yeah,
I think
I'm.
Go ahead. You got it, Ty.
I was gonna say I'm very excited for the game. I do have my. I think Michigan maybe top to bottom a more fundamental team. I mean, obviously you're going to hear the same talking points. I think wherever you listen, but you know, my niche talking point is always the great quarterbacks don't necessarily win you championships. Sometimes I think it's better to have a quarterback that's just like, oh, that guy won a national championship. Like the guy from Georgia, who apparently I've been told is not Jake Fromm. You know, all the guys at Alabama pretty much who won one, and not all of them. But I just feel like Michigan top to bottom, especially like I believe in Michigan after seeing what they did against Alabama. Like Bobby touched on, you know, whether someone has better athletes or not, to go into a game in a playoff against like a Nick Saban coach team and you're only up by 3 at half and it's looking pretty neck and neck, to come out the winner on that second half. And I understand Bama had a good, you know, run, but I believe in this Michigan coaching staff to prepare, to present it. Like I was very impressed. I was
Michigan
very
coaching staff to
impressed.
prepare.
No, but I was very impressed in Michigan's ability to adjust to the game, to compete on an athlete level, to compete, you know, to conditioning and everything else. I just don't. I don't know if I saw that wall to wall with Washington. Obviously, Washington, Penix is very, very good. I think also being aided by maybe the best receiver room in the country. Ohio State fans will throw a fit about that, but I'm not
It's
too
obvious.
impressed by
They've
Ohio
got
State.
They got 3 first-round, second-round talents in their wide receiver room.
Yeah, so I don't know. I still like Michigan. I would love Washington too. I think the biggest thing is, as a fan of college football, obviously Michigan, massive brand, but very refreshing to see these two teams in the championship. I think 2 years ago, if you had told people, yeah, it's going to be Michigan, Washington in the national championship, Michigan is probably kind of believable. I mean, they were starting to turn the boat around then, but you'd be like, Washington at the national championship in a playoff. They won their way there. It wasn't some BCS thing. That'd be very impressive. So I'm very excited just to see, fresh teams up there.
4.5 points, Michigan. Are you taking Michigan still, Ty?
Yeah, probably. I think it will be. I think Washington is sort of been. I don't know. I've doubted on Washington all year, and then been, Oregon both times, and then I think USC. I rode with USC maybe even, and then Texas. Obviously, I was on Texas, so I don't know, but I think I'm going to have to continue to do what I've been doing, even though I've been burned on it. I like Michigan more. Michigan cheated. Well, that helps me, I guess. So.
Well, and it's wild you bring up 2 years ago too, Ty, because 2 years ago,
OU was relevant.
Yeah, 2021. Washington opened their season by losing at home to Montana, and then they played this same not same. Lots happened since then, but then they played Michigan and Ann Arbor and lost 31-10. Obviously, that was.
I could see that score repeating.
No
Possibly.
way. Zero.
I think Penix and that offense just has way.
You think like 42-10 instead?
No, they have way too much juice to be shut down that bad. I think Washington, as we saw from how they handled, Sweat and that great Texas D line, they have some solid dogs up front on the O line.
Yeah, their running back's got a high ankle sprain. He's going to play through. It's just going to be tough for Washington, but still, it's their passing attack. Jalen McMillan, Polk, and Roma Dunze. It's just they're going to make plays. There's no way they score only 10 points, and obviously eat my words if it happens. But still,
no.
I would
be
an official
down.
bowl prediction with that record.
Penix sprained, high ankle sprain, stepping off the plane to get.
Yeah.
Well, also too, think about this: Michael Penix, that man loves to destroy Big Ten teams. I mean, we saw it at Indiana when he had nothing. I know.
Okay.
I know
There's a heavy not or maybe it's an asterisk. It was during the COVID year where crazy things were happening all over the place. I just delete that year from college football history. That's all I gotta say.
Yes.
But now he's doing crazy things right now at Washington. He is. Yeah. So my thing is and he destroyed Michigan State back-to-back years. But,
guys, we have breaking news. I'm sorry. Oklahoma is expected to hire Jacksonville State's Zach Alley as its new defensive coordinator.
What the?
I like that.
You did not know who he was before this.
I did. The name was brought up by our colleague Eli Letterman, and
God, no.
That's what I thought it would be.
No.
The 29-year-old.
Yeah.
29 years old in Jacksonville State. Bobby's Jacksonville State.
They're a wagon.
Wow.
Man. They're a freaking wagon.
There was literally a segment where y'all were talking about potential ones, and Bobby did not mention the D coordinator from Jacksonville State ever.
Nobody.
You literally had the platform to talk about this guy.
I didn't
this
feel like
guy was a assistant and student assistant in GA at Clemson 2011 through 2018.
Oh God. Oh, hiring within the fam.
So it's more
y'all love your fam,
but a newer, younger mind. And then after that, he went to Boise State and was inside linebackers coach. There you go, Blake. And then stayed there for another year. In 2021, he went to ULM, was their DC linebackers coach, and then went to Jacksonville State after that. He's been there since 2022.
Wow.
So this guy's a figurehead then.
Dude,
He's
this
the
guy's
definition of a figurehead.
This guy's recruiting experience, which is what I was really hoping we would get. This guy's recruiting experience consists of having conversations with players about why going to his school is better than trying to go to a JUCO and then maybe transfer. So great to see that we're at that level now.
What?
We basically hired a really damn good intern, it seems.
He's a cheap.
Venables.
It's a figurehead. He's a cheap guy that you can they hired, can talk to the youths. He knows how to talk to the youths. He's one of
He has a
them.
nice
No,
mustache.
he has
a really good
is
mustache.
This is a Greg the Egg situation. Like a cousin in the Clemson program to Venables. He's been shown the door somehow, and he's been given a position in some obscure department.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fun. That's exciting. Of course, he's probably, we asked and wondered, like, what is this going to be? Like, are they going to try to get somebody who's like bringing in a new, thing? And I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. But now that it's very clearly not that, but I'm not disappointed. I don't think I had my hopes up regardless, because ultimately Venables is going to be the guy anyways. So I guess just try to get a little young baby Venables out there and see what you can do.
All right. Zach Alley's hairline looks to be receding. He wears a lot of hats.
Does he actually wear hats, or is this a taboo
Yes.
situation again?
Yes, the picture I first saw of him, he had a hat.
What is how do you spell it?
ZAC
Yes.
and then ALLEY.
Zach like back alley. Great.
Yeah. Interesting. We could
Kind of
talk
like
about this
Ass
at
Alley.
another
What
time.
is this?
Yeah. Oh,
Can
I
we
missed
pull
it.
up his
It's great.
Wikipedia picture real quick?
I-
What is this?
Oh, I gotta get there. What are we seeing? Don't tell me you've been adjusting his Wikipedia page.
No, I have not. I have not adjusted it. I cannot because of the Texas State
That is a
thing.
real. It's
Because you've been banned from Wikipedia for suggesting too many times that Boko the Bobcat is connected to Boko Haram.
No, I kept adding an entire paragraph saying that he's not. Apparently that was just
so
unneeded
No, you were
information.
saying he wasn't. You're just clarifying.
Yeah.
this Wikipedia page is gonna have so many looks at it, Ty. There's an opportunity right now.
You've only had a
It's-
different IP address, man.
I changed his profile picture to Blake. No, but
this picture on Wikipedia is legitimately the stupidest. Are you
it's
kidding
like
me?
it's like a mug shot where he doesn't know where to look.
Okay,
Oh
I'm
my
looking it
God.
up right now.
This is
The moral of the story here is if you think
It's like a zoom
No.
screenshot.
Why?
Oh my god! I
What?
don't.
What?
It's got to change here soon. Ty, I'm honestly think. Do you have access to change right now?
No,
No,
Oh.
that time's gone.
this is not a joke. That's not a bitch. It's also partially because the
I was hoping that
Missouri.
you changed IP
I had
address or
I had a very strange feud with Missouri fans where I kept erasing. People probably don't even know who this guy is, but that DGB guy.
No, everyone,
Greenback.
Of course
everyone remembers
everyone knows.
the
I
Bill
kept erasing
Greenback.
any evidence that he ever played at Missouri and just replaced everything with OU. Like just putting that OU was the only school he ever played for, even though he was on the team for a year and had to sit and never played a snap. And Missouri fans were big mad about that.
Okay, Blake, this is the Wikipedia picture for Zach Alley.
Oh my god.
This does not look like a real person to me. Like this name does not sound real. I literally think this is a like an identity that we've crafted up, and it's still just like I don't believe that this is a real person. It's very generic look. I don't think this is a real person. I think every press conference he looks a little different because it's just a different paid actor. That's fine. It is not. We haven't hired anyone.
We hired a paid actor to just say inspirational Brent Venables quotes.
This is a crisis actor, is what he is. I did have a segment as we're transitioning back to the playoff, but Washington O-line very good, And the reason for that is, right, think about Washington, right? The state of Washington. Bears, right? They eat salmon and berries. I think that's what they're feeding the O-line, like a diet of salmon and berries, and they're able to get like a bear diet, literally, like a bear diet of just salmon and berries. They're stocking up on it, and they've achieved like bear strength. And that's one of the issues with OU, as we've touched on before with our O-line, is we've moved away from just like good local food, right? You go into Headington and see what they're eating. They're feeding them like vegetables and like fish and stuff, right? We need to be feeding these boys maybe some catfish, right? But just beef, just grass-fed beef. That's what, you know. Did Switzer ever feed the boys weird vegetables? No. They ate beef, right? Nebraska, oh, they gave their people steroids. No, grass-fed beef. Like we need to return to Oklahoma foods, onion burgers, stuff like that, and we'd have a
the state meal of Oklahoma, Bobby, isn't it like a 13-course meal?
It has multiple items. I think it's a chicken fried steak.
Chicken fried steak, exactly.
Chicken fried steak. That's
they
one
don't.
of it.
They don't be
Black
feeding
eyed
them.
peas are in there for some reason.
Yes.
I don't
There
like
we
that.
go.
That one should be eliminated from the
No,
barbecue
Oklahoma City
pork.
folk love black-eyed peas and the singing group Black Eyed Peas.
I got a feeling.
I got a feeling.
Yeah, this podcast
We're about to get
gets so
demonetized.
and just wait for it. We're gonna play Ty's alarm clock sound here, and everyone's gonna come and be like, "Oh, look,
Oh.
Schooner Pod's live! They must be talking about the new DC." Nope, they're gonna hear a wonderful alarm clock sound.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, this is we started 2024 off right with just the most unhinged pod we've had in a good while, and I love it.
I'm not gonna lie, Ty. I probably like zoned out for about 20-30 seconds earlier when you started talking about berries. And I came back into like listening after reading an article, and I'm very confused how that started.
and you know what it is
Well,
berries.
no, and here's the thing too.
Berries facilitate reps, right? Like bears can hibernate.
Berries
Jameson,
are actually clinically proven to be anti-inflammatories.
Exactly. That's
Well,
what
berries.
That's what I'm saying.
Berries also, as Ty mentioned, aren't available anywhere other than Washington. Berries and
Not
salmon.
fresh, not like that, not from nature,
Definitely
Which is where
salmon.
you
I
should
feel
be-
like
Wait,
salmon.
you should be getting your food.
Yeah.
right?
Do you think
That's right. Kevin Durant, when he was in Oklahoma, tried to make that like seafood restaurant, took a bunch of people out, right? You don't eat seafood in Oklahoma.
Do you think do you think the Washington players are just foraging for berries in the woods?
No, I think they have staff members that are doing that for you.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
They have GAs in
Come
the
on.
woods foraging
They
for
have to go to
That's
class.
basically your defensive coordinator now. He's like the age of a GA. So
Scary forager.
Oh dear
Well,
God,
no,
he's
he
a
could
year
go
older
out
than me.
and-
That's
You
weird.
can go out and
Look at what I've accomplished. This guy. Anyways, he has 0 podcasts. I've done many. Okay, let's the game. Oh my God, the national championship. Any more thoughts on this?
Who
it's
you
a
got,
very
Blake?
interesting
Michigan,
style.
Michigan.
Michigan gets the
I think
spread.
Michigan.
Did Bobby pick?
I think it's Michigan too, and I think for me, the way I put it on a different show is, and I know it sounds like recency bias, but Michigan knows how to execute these big moments, and I feel like
Dude,
Washington
wait, what?
kind of.
No, what? They've literally. When have they
Not like-
executed in the big moments?
They
I
beat
don't know,
Alabama.
When they beat Alabama in the.
What about the 2 years prior? Like the kind of big
It's
ones.
a completely different team.
That was my thing, Blake. Is they
No,
figured
that's
it
the
out.
thing. They're the same team. That's why they're so good.
And
Is
they
they've been
figured
the
it
same
out.
group.
The same group that learns and grows, Blake.
That Alabama team was so bad. Did you see Jalen Milroe? Even when he got a snap to his chest, that guy, Bill O'Brien, is the guy that you hate. That was right. That onion meme. He was right. That guy should not be playing quarterback. He should not be playing quarterback. Like that's
The worst person you know being a good.
yes.
You think he paid
That was
off
Bill
the center?
O'Brien.
I like Jalen Milroe fine. He was all right.
He
They actually
didn't throw
found-
for over 200 yards in the biggest game of the year. You are not a quarterback in college, an elite college quarterback, if you can't throw for over 200
This
yards.
the same type of dude who calls Lamar Jackson a wide receiver.
No, it is not Jameson. Lamar Jackson won a Heisman. He was an actually really good college football player. Jalen Milroe was nowhere close to that. Jalen Milroe
I'm not
struggled
making
against
comparisons.
Auburn. Like
Sorry.
he's been struggling against bums all season.
Jalen Milroe looked like one of the only, not only, but one of the few like confident players out there.
And
for
that's
LSU.
what I'm
He was
saying.
like-
That Bama team was so bad that Jalen Milroe is actually being heralded from for something.
But ultimately, Michigan made the plays they needed to. They needed to.
Oh
win
my
the game.
god, against absolute bums.
I don't think Alabama is like necessarily like that was a solid team. They're the college football playoff, man.
I know that's a shot on Kirby Smart. Like I don't know how Kirby
and then
Smart let those guys in.
Essentially, what I'm saying is, Washington, on the other hand, kind of almost blew it at the end by over.
Oh no, stop.
They did. They absolutely did. I had my stomach completely sank to the floor
because you
watching that.
were jinxing us
awful.
all over the place, sending in the
Us?
chat every Texas death meme at the beginning of the fourth quarter before the game was over, Bobby. That's why you had a gut wrenching feeling, is because you were
No.
hexing and jinxing all over the group chat before the game.
Jinx
can't
culture is
say
so freaking toxic.
that
I'm so
Washington-
tired.
It is not Jameson.
It's not real.
Science.
It's not real.
it
It's
is
not
real.
Science. It's the,
It is
it's
so
the
real.
absolute antithesis of science, Blake.
You know how many reverse jinxes have willed me to wins? Like,
Okay,
do you
okay.
know
I don't-
how
I do
those
not need. I do not need a scientific lecture about the benefits of jinxes from a man in a golden fedora right now.
He won the golden fedora.
I won the
because of
golden
reverse
fedora,
jinxes.
Bobby. That's how I'm reverse jinxing all over the place. You gotta fire up. You gotta push every button. You gotta mash them in order to get your team to actually work. Like you gotta do everything, and you're over here gloating before the fourth quarter that Texas is dead.
It
Texas
still
is
worked
an
'cause they're dead.
embarrassment. They, you thank your lucky stars that Steve Sarkisian somehow blew it. I was in the chat being like, Washington blew it. Washington, I can't believe they blew this game. Trying to reverse hex what Bobby was putting on this world. I'm trying to fight the magical powers out there that
What
Bobby
was
was
the-
just throwing
was-
at me.
Jamison tried to slip in saying that jinx culture is toxic.
It's
Because
not toxic.
It has not been forgotten, Jamison, what you did to, was it Kansas earlier in the year? Was it Kansas State? Where they lost on the
I think it was
No,
Kansas.
It was
Texas State.
it was the Houston game versus West Virginia, I believe.
Yes.
Oh my god! Yeah.
It was done. The game was over.
I said, "Oh, Dana, I'm gonna." I think I said I was gonna eat his tears or something, and then all of a sudden the Hail Mary happened.
Well, and then you
So,
reversed.
yes, I did that.
Yeah, you were almost saved from that because because then Houston then whipped it back around on you and pulled through.
Yes,
Timothy's
yeah.
mad at you, Jameson.
It
You
was
screwed it
so
up for
sad.
Timothy.
I know. I hurt myself too.
Yeah, but any more
I would
thoughts
like
on the
to-
game?
Yeah, I am in fact changing my pick to Washington.
I'm picking Washington.
The more I think about it, just the berries and salmon has convinced me. Because what is Michigan eating, right? They're gonna go ice fish for things or whatever.
Corn?
I don't
Or
know what they
corn
eat in
wheat.
Michigan. Corn? They don't have corn. They're covered in snow.
That's why you
What are they
store
gonna
it
forage?
up for the winter.
Detroit style pizza.
Conies,
What's
like
Detroit-style
chili
pizza?
cheese dogs.
What do you mean? What's Detroit style pizza?
Mom's spaghetti.
You don't know what
Spaghetti.
Detroit style pizza is?
Like Midwestern? Are you thinking
Wait,
like
you don't?
Chicago pizza?
Oh, dude, you're missing out. Detroit style pizza is incredible. It's like a
they make it in
square
a pan. They
pan.
make it a pan. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like
not
totally
sound
different from.
good.
It's so good.
Detroit style pizza.
It's incredible. There are several places in Oklahoma City that do it.
It's
and
just
they're
it's
nice.
just a rectangle.
Yeah, but
it's
it's like-
good though.
But it's a little bit thicker. It's nice.
Timothy
I would
says.
end the rest. Yeah. Anyways,
Timothy says that
we
Michigan
can't
will
talk
be
about-
eating crow.
Can't talk about eating crow. That's a felony. Bobby promised to eat crow.
We looked
on
it
a
up.
podcast about
No,
3 years ago. Or
I remember
don't
we
even
Googled it. It is a felony to eat crows. Crows are protected species, I guess, or something. I can't remember. Now that Blake is a man of the law, we might have to revisit it.
A man of the bird law.
The bird law. I don't know how well versed you are in bird law, Blake.
I say you just eat it, Bobby, and then I defend you, and we'll see how it goes.
No, it's definitely.
Trust me,
this
brother.
sounds
What
like
a what a businessman over here.
See, I guess jinx culture, we're gonna win, Bobby, okay? We're gonna win. You don't believe in jinxes, so we're gonna win the case.
No. I'm not eating this crow now. You should have said this later. You should have
It
said this
took
later.
Bobby
after I
at least
said
a
crow.
month and a half to eat a Fruity Pebble pickle. You think he's gonna eat crow?
Yeah, okay. Maybe jinx culture is right because I did forsake the pickle, and it did ruin my life.
I've been telling you this all along. In jinx cultures, Jameson, I don't know what he believes in. I think he believes it, but he hates it. Like, he hates when we in the chat are going off with reverse jinxes all over each other. I feel like he just
It's just
wants
soft. It makes me not
Notice
want to talk. It makes me not want to talk because you never actually say what you think, and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much.
I'm
It's
saying
just-
what I think at that moment. I'm saying exactly what I believe.
Oh my god,
What?
we need to get off this. It's an hour
Okay.
10 into this. I need to
Yeah,
play
we-
Ty's alarm sound.
crows are
Okay.
perfectly legal to eat.
Transfer portal.
Okay. Transfer portal. Literally anything. Do we need to talk about anything about
Yes.
portal?
OU.
We can talk about it in another
OU just landed
Yeah.
a kicker.
Like
No,
Honestly, we should
Yeah.
wait for
Florida State
transfer
should
wait.
portal.
We should wait.
We should wait till after the portal's closed because we'll know some of these. I know if I can go off on
Funniest
Jake
portal.
Mavia, that
the
little
portal just
boy,
closed,
little can't even stay at UNLV, can't handle the pressure of the desert. Like I need to see what happens with some of these guys.
The floor, the portal closed already, and like unless like it takes a while for like paperwork, and then I know there's a grace period, but it's done. You can't enter in anymore. So unless like some people in the national championship game are late to the party, it's pretty much set.
What happens if you're still outstanding?
No. You can commit anywhere at any time, but you can't put your name into the portal.
we should.
But that's
still
my
save
thing
it.
is there's still a lot of people that haven't committed. Like
Oh,
Evan
yes,
Stewart
but
hasn't
that-
committed.
Right.
Like some good
people might take a
quarterbacks.
while. Yeah.
Malachi Nelson is like looking at
Who
No,
won?
Boise
or
State.
we know, or Boise State, right? I thought he committed.
Yeah, did he commit to Boise?
Oh no, maybe not.
No, I
maybe
thought he was just
It's
visiting.
the same thing about Will Howard committing to USC.
Oh,
Is that
God.
the same source?
No, or we know
Jeez.
where Will Howard committed.
Yeah, now we know.
Jesus.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Well,
what a
that
mess.
sucks. All
Okay,
right.
let's wrap this up. This pod's
got it
gone on
pulled
too
up.
long. This is what
Everyone
happens.
that is listening right now, just warning you.
So
we're about to
remind him
play-
what this is.
Yes, so we're about to play Ty's Punishment out loud, and we did weekend spread picks throughout the whole year. And we'd pick predetermined college football games, and whoever had the worst record out of us four had to undergo a punishment. This year, we decided that the winner would help make the losers alarm clock for the next 1 month. So we have created
Okay, so
a
the
alarm
rule
clock.
was the
sound.
winner
You
got-
have. You
the rule was
have.
the winner got to choose, but Jameson got so excited that Blake was like, you know what? That sounds like a good
I
idea.
texted Blake and he
It-
told me to do it.
Yes, no, I did. There is no
what's your
man
fault,
that
Jameson?
is a master of annoying than Jameson. He just knows how to push all those buttons. He knows how to really dig in there. And so when he said, I have free time, I want to do this, it was the easiest yes I've ever said in my life that the master
did
of
he have free
annoying was
time.
willing to do something for me.
So
I was
it's
going
a-
to do probably something much lighter, but
A deep apology to everyone about to listen to this, but this is what Ty's going to have to wake up to for.
All right,
month.
I've got it. I've got it ready, Bobby.
Let's do it.
If you want me to play it. It's 2 minutes and 52 seconds, but you'll listen to a 30-second part that I can teach you how to download as a alarm clock sound on your iPhone. But here's it. Here it goes.
Release the hounds, Jameson.
That's Waluigi in the background, if you can't tell.
We know, Jameson. We know.
Waluigi time. Waluigi number one. Ow! Owie!
Oh no, my phone turned off. Oh
This
no!
happens
we have to
every
restart
time you
it.
play it, Jameson. How did you
Oh
not know
no,
now?
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, bring
It's
it back.
okay.
Bring it back. Jesus. We're professionals here.
Oh no! I just have to make sure it doesn't turn off. It keeps going. Don't you worry.
Why did you just have an entire Waluigi segment?
I don't know. I really like Waluigi sounds. And I love Crazy Frog, obviously. I'm really gonna try and say really. Every single Whopper commercial sped up at increased time
You
speed. I don't
might
know.
be getting us copyrighted, actually.
It's okay.
We're probably fine. No. We're fine.
Favorite part's coming up right here.
This is so bad. Here's the fun part.
Dylan Gabriel would be number one for me on my Heisman odds list.
Dylan Gabriel touchdown! Dylan Gabriel touchdown! Dylan Gabriel touchdown! Dylan Gabriel touchdown! Dylan Gabriel touchdown!
The Josh Pate cameo.
Dylan Gabriel touchdown! Dylan Gabriel touchdown! Dylan Gabriel touchdown! Dylan Gabriel touchdown!
Does this says Dylan Gabriel touchdown more than he actually scored his entire time in OU, doesn't it?
I don't know, man. He scored 8 in the game once.
Thoughts, Ty?
Like already, it's tremendously annoying. But I've already found, like if that does in fact include more Dylan Gabriel touchdowns than he scored either this season or his entire time, that is a tremendous talking point that I can continue to use in perpetuity against people who defend him. The only OU quarterback in the past 50 years that's lost 8 games in 2 years, by the way.
You know how long it took me to find a Josh Pate Dylan Gabriel take?
It's so hard. He has so many guys that suck up to him. I was like trying to go into the depths. It's just all gassing up Josh Pate. I'm like, where's the bad takes? I know they exist. I know I hear them, but I don't put in my mind, oh, on this Tuesday episode, he said something dumb at the 30-minute mark. And nobody ever highlights those.
The clear one is right after OU Texas, but
that's what I did, and I
know.
listened to that episode on 4 times speed, and I was just waiting to hear Dylan Gabriel Heisman together, and all of a sudden I said, "Oh, here we are." Just
honestly, the fact that you had to listen to multiple Pate episodes is you got punished just as much as I did.
But I enjoyed it so much. I spent a good
Pate.
4 or 5 hours doing that. It was just making that alarm. That was fun. Well, I'm really excited for you. I'll teach you how to download that as your alarm clock sound, and we'll start the day the morning after the national championship.
Jameson, we should provide this as a free download to all of our followers and subscribers so they can listen along too with Ty.
Will they get us? Will they get us with the copyright?
No, we're getting it out for free.
No,
it's a remix. It's like DJs do it all the time.
Oh, yeah,
great, yeah.
It's fair use. It's fair use. Certainly, it's an original version of all of those things. There you go.
You have it, Bobby. If you would like to post it, go for it.
I think I might.
Yeah.
So everyone can, be in solidarity, ride with Ty, wake up with him in the morning to that alarm. It'll certainly work. It'll certainly work. Ty, you're what? if you won, your option was going to be what? I think it was.
In all seriousness, I was going to be very strict on making sure it has to be the alarm clock, and then I was going to pick the quietest possible thing that I could. Just we're messing with people's livelihoods with this, so they're lucky that I did not, in fact, win.
Timothy's downloading. Let's go, boys. We're about to hit it big on SoundCloud. Jameson's the next.
It's called Tie Alarm Take 2. That's currently the name of it right now.
Incredible. Just genius stuff. All right, guys, that's all we have for today. It's an hour and 20 minutes. How? I don't know. But look, next time we'll be talking. College football season will be fully over. We'll be into the big bad off season properly. No more college football, and we'll find something to talk about for the remaining many weeks we have ahead of us. But if y'all have been listening with us all season long, or somehow just showed up today as your first time and listened through the entire whatever the hell Jameson put together, thank y'all. We'll be at it all throughout the off season. Obviously, me, Ty, and Jameson will be handling
Definitely
the
not
Schooner
Blake.
Pod end. Blake will definitely be popping in. What? Oh yeah,
I want to chime in on some OU things.
yeah. Boomer Blake will be in effect quite often through the off season. You're not gonna go through the dark periods that you had in the past where it'll just be gone for like several months and then pop back up. We'll keep him in rotation as much as we can. Because someone has to spit the truth, right, Blake? Those ball knower takes.
Amen, my brother. Especially with Jameson, the resume he's put together this season. It's going to be a legacy year, or I guess it is this year. 2024 is going to be a legacy Jameson year. He has to really pull it together.
It's a prove it year for Jameson. I gotta say, just not impressive. Not impressed with what he did in the postseason. So.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, Blake, you and Lord King Big Nuts going for that final. So if you are Lord King Big Nuts watching this on repeat, and you do win, let me know, and we'll get that money to you. Or you're gonna get money anyways because you're gonna finish second or first, or you tie and you and Blake spit.
There's
no ties because this is a tiebreaker.
Shoot.
That's good.
Yeah,
Isn't that good? Because it clearly defines who 1 and 2 is.
Yeah,
we don't have to make up rules on the fly. There's a tiebreaker that's built in.
I for one like making up rules on the fly. It's fun. It makes me feel strong and powerful.
Yeah, because you would screw me out of my money.
Yes.
Bring me my money.
anyways. That's all we have for today's show. Thank you all so much for listening, and thank you all for coming on the show, guys. This is fun getting to talk with the full crew again after a little bit of a hiatus. So we'll be back at it at some point in time, probably next week, maybe not. I don't know. We might go on a hiatus again, maybe not.
No, transfer portal's coming up.
We will definitely.
We need to do transfer portal. We need to do a transfer portal show.
we do. The fact that we need to do that. But anyways, this has gone long enough. We'll see y'all next time. Have a good one, everyone, and Boomer Sooner, everybody.
Wow, Luigi, number 1.